I always thought marriage would be different. I imagined candlelit dinners, stolen glances, whispered affection. But after 8 years with Ryan, it had turned into something mechanical, predictable, and painfully dull. Ryan wasn't a bad man. He paid the bills, showed up for birthdays, kissed my forehead every morning. But the fire that once burned between us had died out long ago, replaced by cold routines and quick, thoughtless touches. The only time his hands found me was when he needed something, never when I needed to be held. I used to tell myself it was just a phase. Life got busy, responsibilities piled up, and passion naturally faded. But months turned into years, and I found myself lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, craving a touch that made me feel alive again. The sheets next to me stayed cold, and so did my heart. Every morning felt the same: coffee, silence, a half-hearted goodbye. The spark in Ryan's eyes, the hunger in his touch, all of it had vanished, like I was just another piece of furniture in our house. I tried: lingerie, spontaneous dates, late-night texts, but he hardly noticed. His attention was always on his phone, work emails, or the television. I became invisible, and my own reflection seemed like a stranger. It wasn't just physical starvation, it was emotional abandonment. I missed being wanted, missed the rush of desire, missed the slow unraveling of intimacy that made my skin feel electric. My body remembered how it used to respond, but Ryan no longer cared enough to awaken it. Then came the quiet, bitter realization. I was surviving, not living. A woman stuck in a silent marriage, aching for something she could barely admit to herself. The cracks in our marriage weren't loud. They were quiet, in the way he rolled over after 2 minutes of intimacy, in the way he never noticed when I changed my hair, in the way I spent entire evenings watching him stare at a screen. Some nights, I wondered if I was the problem, if wanting more made me ungrateful. But deep down, I knew the truth. I wasn't asking for much. I just wanted to feel like a woman again, not a shadow of myself. And just when I had almost given up on ever feeling anything again, someone knocked on my door. It was supposed to be just a repair visit, routine, forgettable. But when I opened the door, and our eyes met, something shifted inside me. Something I could no longer ignore. His name was Lucas. The moment I opened the door, I felt it, something I hadn't felt in years. A quiet heat curling low in my stomach, awakening parts of me that had long been dormant. He stood tall, broad-shouldered, with a quiet confidence that seemed to fill the space around him. Dark hair, strong jawline, and a pair of piercing hazel eyes that lingered just a second too long on mine. "Afternoon, ma'am," he said, voice deep and smooth, a faint grin tugging at his lips. His work shirt clung to his frame, stretched tight around thick, defined arms. He wasn't like Ryan, soft from office life and late-night snacks. Lucas was built, rugged, the kind of man who knew how to handle things and people. I told myself to breathe, to act normal. He was here to fix the back door, nothing more. But every time his fingers brushed mine when passing tools, or when he bent down, muscles flexing under his shirt, I felt something shameful and intoxicating stir inside me. As Lucas worked, I hovered. I told myself it was just being polite, but the truth was simpler. I wanted to be near him. I wanted to feel noticed again. And Lucas? He noticed. His glances lingered, his smiles stretched a little longer, his compliments sounded heavier, more loaded. "You're too pretty to be hiding in this quiet house," he said, wiping sweat from his brow, his voice low enough to make my skin prickle. No one had called me pretty in so long it almost hurt. Guilt coiled in my chest, but desire was stronger. I caught myself checking my reflection before grabbing him a glass of water. I adjusted my blouse, stood a little straighter, let my fingers accidentally graze his hand when I handed it over. Ryan wouldn't have noticed, but Lucas did. His eyes darkened, his smile turned sly, and I felt his gaze travel lower, lingering on my hips, my lips, my bare skin where my blouse dipped. Every innocent encounter grew heavier with unspoken words. The air felt charged, tense, thick with something dangerous and tempting. The door was fixed, but Lucas lingered. His goodbye wasn't rushed. His fingers brushed my wrist, intentional, lingering. His final words carved into me like a brand. "Maybe next time. I'll fix something else," he said, letting his gaze drag over me before walking out. I stood frozen in the doorway, heart pounding, pulse racing, breath shaky. Shame whispered in my ear, but my body screamed for more. And as I closed the door behind him, something inside me clicked open. It didn't take long for Lucas to come back. A week later, he was at my door again, something about a follow-up on the back door alignment. I knew it was an excuse, and so did he. But I let him in, heart thudding, nerves fraying, anticipation clawing at my chest. Ryan was at work. The house was quiet, too quiet. I wasn't dressed up, but I wasn't plain either. Comfortable, but with just enough skin showing to invite curiosity. Lucas's eyes swept over me the second he stepped inside, unapologetic and intense. The energy between us was no longer playful. It was heavy, charged, simmering just below the surface. I offered him coffee, but we both knew why he was really there. He stood close, closer than necessary. The small kitchen felt smaller, the walls pressing inward as his cologne surrounded me. Every accidental touch wasn't so accidental anymore. My breathing quickened, my pulse fluttered wildly as his fingers grazed mine once, then again, then lingered. His voice was low, rougher than usual. "You don't have to pretend anymore," he whispered, eyes dark and hungry. "I've seen the way you look at me." I should have said something, pushed him away, reminded myself I was married. But my silence gave him the answer he was looking for. My body betrayed me, leaning in, gravitating toward his heat like a moth to a flame. Then his lips were on mine, hungry, forceful, claiming. I gasped, but my hands moved on their own, curling into his shirt, pulling him closer. The kiss wasn't sweet. It was desperate, weeks of silent hunger exploding in a single, fiery moment. Lucas lifted me effortlessly, his large hands gripping my thighs, pressing me against the wall. The roughness of the moment made my skin burn, my nerves sparked to life in ways I had long forgotten. Every nerve ending felt alive under his touch. I wasn't prepared for how thick he was, how intense the feeling would be. My body tensed, startled by his size, but my mind surrendered. Every logical thought was drowned beneath a tidal wave of desire. I gasped against his mouth, feeling him stretch me open, filling spaces that had been neglected far too long. "Too much," he whispered, smirking. "No." I breathed, my nails digging into his shoulders. "Don't stop." He didn't. And in that moment, the world outside disappeared. My vows, my guilt, my name, everything dissolved, leaving only the raw, sinful reality of what my body craved. And when it was over, I didn't feel regret. I felt alive. The house felt different after Lucas left. The walls seemed smaller, the air thicker, every room charged with the memory of what we had done. My skin still tingled where his hand had roamed, my lips swollen from his hungry kisses, my thighs sore in ways they hadn't been in years. My heart pulsed with lingering excitement, but beneath it, guilt slowly began to take root. I stood in front of the mirror, disheveled, my blouse hanging off one shoulder, lipstick smudged, hair a wild mess of curls. I barely recognized the woman staring back at me. Her eyes weren't tired anymore. They were wide, awake, alive. Her cheeks were flushed, her lips slightly curved, a secret simmering just beneath the surface. My phone buzzed. It was Ryan. A simple message. "Working late. Don't wait up." I let out a breathless laugh, part bitter, part relieved. The irony stung. Here I was, guilty of the worst betrayal, while my husband remained oblivious, lost in his own world of spreadsheets and deadlines. I thought guilt would consume me, but it didn't. It sat there, quietly, like a whisper in the back of my mind, while something far stronger pulsed through me, something dangerous. Power. Control. The knowledge that I could still be wanted, still be craved, still bring a man to his knees. Ryan had turned me into a ghost in my own home, but Lucas had made me flesh and blood again. I cleaned up, hid every trace of my betrayal. By the time Ryan returned, I was back to being the quiet, Dutiful wife. Dinner ready, smile practiced, eyes empty. He kissed my cheek without noticing the heat still clinging to my skin. That night, as he fell asleep beside me, snoring softly, my phone buzzed again. Lucas. Couldn't stop thinking about you. Let me know when you need me again. I should have blocked him. I should have deleted the message and buried the memory deep inside. But I didn't. I stared at the screen, my heart racing, my body stirring again. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, hesitating, but only for a moment. Then I typed back, I think the back door needs another adjustment. My thumb pressed send, and a shiver ran through me. This wasn't a mistake. This was the beginning of something I couldn't turn back from. And for the first time in years, I smiled.